Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour. World grapples with extreme weather. Heat-related deaths rise in India. 80 million people in the US under a heat advisory as New York City opens schooling centers. Vladimir Putin's trip to Vietnam brings bamboo diplomacy in focus after he strikes defense deal with North Korea. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch development projects in the Kashmir Valley to lead the International Day of Yoga celebrations in Srinagar. And in cricket, India to play against Afghanistan in a T20 World Cup quarter-final match. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Srinagar on Thursday in his first visit to Jammu and Kashmir after assuming office for a third term. During his two-day visit to the Union Territory, Prime Minister Modi will participate in a youth event on Thursday evening local time. He will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of development projects. He will also launch a competitiveness improvement in agriculture and allied sectors project. Prime Minister Modi will hand over appointment letters to 2,000 youths for various government services. On Friday, the Prime Minister will participate in an International Day of Yoga event in Srinagar. He will address a gathering on the occasion and take part in a common yoga protocol session. Once a practice shrouded in ancient Indian wisdom, yoga has transformed into a global phenomenon. But its significance extends far beyond individual fitness. It's become a powerful tool for India's soft power diplomacy, fostering cultural exchange and enhancing the country's image globally. Right, we'll get to that in just a bit, but let's go live to a briefing by the Education Secretary of India in New Delhi.
सभी कमिटेड हैं और सभी एजेंसी के साथ हम काम कर रहे हैं और इसीलिए प्रोएक्टिव स्टेप लिया गया है ताकि कोई भी ये क्लेम ना कर पाए कि स्टूडेंट्स के हित की किसी भी तरह की कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज की जा रही है। धन्यवाद।
Now yes, the question and answer session, please. Just a second. So now we'll have the question and answer session. Please just introduce yourself before asking. One at a time.
One by one.
नीरज पांडे मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है, एनटीए को किस प्रकार के इनपुट मिले थे और क्या एनटीए के कुछ ऑफिसर्स या उनके कर्मचारियों का भी इस मामले में इन्वॉल्वमेंट है या कुछ कोचिंग संस्थानों का भी कुछ इन्वॉल्वमेंट नजर आ रहा है आपको?
इनपुट यूनिवर्सिटी ग्रांट कमीशन को मिले थे I4C के द्वारा, जो कि मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम वेयर के अंदर काम करता है। वो इनपुट टेक्निकल नेचर के थे और प्राइमा फेसी ये अपीयर हुआ था कि एग्जाम इट माइट हैव कॉम्प्रोमाइज। अभी तक किसी डायरेक्ट लेवल की बात नहीं हुई थी एंड ये प्रोगेटिव इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग एजेंसी का है कि दे इंक्वायर द मैटर and check and possible collision at any level. We are again saying collision at any level if found. We are very much ready to take action against anyone. But ये matter अभी CBI को गया है. We should wait for their report. Thank you.
Yes, please. Next question from आपसे please. मदन जी just a second. आप पूछिए.
शाम को एनडीटीवी से आपने कहा कि टेक्निकल नेचर के इनपुट्स थे, क्या पेपर लीक की शिकायत मिली है और दूसरा किस इलाके से मिली है इस तरह की शिकायत, अगर आप बता पाएं देश के किस इलाके से?
Just a supplementary, if you can just give us few more details on the nature of these technical inputs. Is it in the nature of a paper leak या कोई cheating, unfair means? What is it exactly?
सर इसी में एक चीज और जोड़ दूंगा मैं, ये जब पेन पेपर टाइप का एग्जामिनेशन था ये वाला नेट का, तो साइबर ने आपको इनपुट किस आधार पर दिया, मतलब उसका क्या मतलब है, इससे तारतम्य क्या इन दोनों बातों का?
देखिए जो I4C है इट वर्क्स एट द डिफरेंट लेवल ऑन द डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म। किसी भी तरह के आपके जो कम्युनिकेशन है कुछ हैं उससे कुछ इंडिकेशन मिले थे, लेकिन चूंकि अभी मैटर इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग एजेंसी को दिया गया है, एट दिस लेवल इफ यू डिस्क्लोज एनी डिटेलिंग इट मे कॉम्प्रोमाइज द इन्वेस्टिगेशन। और ये मुझे विश्वास है कि हम सभी चाहते हैं कि जो भी लोग इन्वॉल्व हों उनके खिलाफ एक्शन हो। अगर डिटेल को ज्यादा डिस्क्लोज किया गया तो इट मे अफेक्ट द इन्वेस्टिगेशन, दैट्स व्हाई इट कैन नॉट बी डिस्क्लोज एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम।
मदन जी आपको ये होगी।
So I'm Joe from Malayalam. So on 14th of June, there was some Twitter handles, subscribement said that there was some kind of paper leak on the UGC net exam and Telegraph channels and showing this kind of asking for money and giving the papers and everything. Whether Ministry of Education or NDA got any kind of information on that day?
मैं आपको वही दोबारा बता रहा हूँ कि चूंकि एग्जाम
Because it's the 4th day before, like 14th of June. That's why.
See, when I said कि prima facie we have found that examination may have been compromised, so that should be enough to indicate. Rest detailing we can't disclose at this point of time. Thank you.
Whether any action taken on that time, sir, on the 14th of June, after this tweet happened?
That's what I'm saying. They see, nobody has complained. The agency itself taken action. That I4C itself has taken action and caught those kind of that input and they shared with us. That's why we have taken action.
रवि from रवि आप पूछेंगे।
मैं रवि न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया से। एनटीए की तरफ से दोनों एग्जाम लिए गए थे, नीट और नेट। तो एनटीए के लेवल पे कहीं पे आपको लग रहा है कि खामी रही, क्योंकि सवाल एनटीए को लेकर खड़े हो रहे हैं।
देखिए, हम किसी भी तरह के कंक्लूजन पर जाने से पहले एक प्रॉपर एविडेंस को चेक करते हैं। आप सभी जानते हैं कि देयर आर ह्यूज मैकेनिज्म इन्वॉल्व। एनटीए का अपना एक मैकेनिज्म है, उसके बाद सेंटर्स इन्वॉल्व हैं, उसके बाद कई परीक्षा सेंटर उसमें उनके लोग इन्वॉल्व होते हैं। किसी भी कंक्लूजन पर जाने से पहले इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग एजेंसी की रिपोर्ट का वेट करना चाहिए। वी आर टेकिंग प्रॉम्प्ट एक्शन ताकि किसी बच्चे का भविष्य कॉम्प्रोमाइज न हो पाए। दैट इज आवर इंटेंशन एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम। फिक्सिंग द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, drawing the conclusion, it depends upon the investigating agency.
Right, and now we go to the right.
All right, you are watching a live press conference by the Ministry of Education in New Delhi. Right, going back to our top story, once a practice shrouded in ancient Indian wisdom, yoga has transformed itself into a global phenomenon. But its significance extends far beyond individual fitness. It has become a powerful tool for India's soft power diplomacy, fostering cultural exchange and enhancing the country's image globally.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lead the International Yoga Day celebrations in Srinagar, marking its significance at the world stage. The seeds of yoga diplomacy were sown decades ago, but it wasn't until 2014 that it blossomed on the world stage. PM Modi spearheaded the initiative to declare June 21st as International Yoga Day at the United Nations. This move not only highlighted yoga's cultural heritage but also positioned it as a unifying force for global health. The overwhelming international participation in subsequent celebrations is a testament to yoga's universal appeal. Several factors contribute to yoga's global success story. Unlike many fitness trends, yoga offers a holistic approach combining physical postures, breathing exercises, meditation, and ethical principles. This caters to a wide range of needs, from improving physical fitness to reducing stress and promoting mental clarity. Additionally, yoga requires minimal equipment and adapts to different abilities and ages, making it accessible to a broad audience. But yoga diplomacy goes beyond simply promoting poses on a mat. It serves as a platform for cultural exchange and building bridges between India and other nations. Yoga classes organized by Indian embassies bring people together, fostering understanding and appreciation for Indian culture. Furthermore, yoga's emphasis on holistic wellness resonates with the growing global focus on mental health. By sharing this expertise, India positions itself as a leader in promoting well-being on a global scale. Bureau Report, DD India.
And DD India's Jessica Taneja speaks to locals and tourists alike in Srinagar about the development of Jammu and Kashmir. Take a listen.
We thought like it was not safe, but after coming here, I think we feel pretty safe. Yeah, we can see the security every day on each and every point. So yeah, it's very safe for the tourists.
People are coming here and the government especially is helping us a lot. The development here is at its peak, I think.
And Jessica Taneja now joins us from Srinagar for more. Jessica, talk to us about the development projects that the Prime Minister will be inaugurating.
Well, there are several development projects that the Prime Minister will be inaugurating today as he reaches the SKICC venue at 6 p.m. in the evening. He'll be interacting with the youth as well. But a lot of push for the development projects. For example, we know 1,500 crore rupees are being invested in water supply schemes along with infrastructure, and not to forget higher education. 6 government degree colleges will be greenlit in the evening, and 2,000 employment certificates will also be given to various individuals present at the SKICC to interact with the Prime Minister. So a lot of activity today evening as Prime Minister commences his 2-day visit to Srinagar.
Now, the Prime Minister, Jessica, would be headlining the Yoga Day celebrations in Srinagar. How are the preparations for it coming along?
Well, the security has been beefed up in Srinagar. You'd see at every time see the security personnel ensuring that there is no traffic chaos, etc. And also a lot of mechanisms followed. But apart from that, there is excitement with people here as well when it comes to participation. Even yesterday, there were practice yoga sessions where we saw a lot of enthusiasts come out and say they're looking forward to participation in the event tomorrow, which starts at 6 a.m. at the same venue. And quite elaborate, quite elaborate setup has been made inside the SKICC. We're at Dal Lake right now, Ramesh, and you'll see that the houseboats, etc., are still there. The tourists are still out on the, going about their day as usual. And for tourism as well, it has quite significantly improved since many years. But yoga bringing in that cultural, importance and back to Srinagar as well. It's iconic because last time it was held in New York and this time it's in Srinagar, definitely sending out a message as to what the links with Srinagar are, and the backdrop chosen quite wisely.
Jessica, thank you. Jessica Taneja in Srinagar. And still to come on DD India News Hour. India's External Affairs Minister EAM Jaishankar visits Sri Lanka for bilateral talks. And Israel's army releases footage of strikes against Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Now, India's Prime Minister Modi met with a delegation of sitting and former US lawmakers led by Michael McCaul in New Delhi. The delegation comprised the chair of the US House Committee on Foreign Affairs, Michael McCaul, and a former Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. The delegation was in India to meet the Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, in Dharamshala. India's External Affairs Minister EAM Jaishankar is visiting Sri Lanka, where he met Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Minister Jaishankar reviewed the progress made on various bilateral projects and initiatives and also discussed the way forward for the cooperation, especially in power, energy, connectivity, port infrastructure, aviation, digital, health, food security, education and tourism sectors. It is Minister Jaishankar's first bilateral visit after the formation of a new government under Prime Minister Narendra Modi in India for a third time. His visit reaffirms India's neighbourhood first policy and underlines India's continued commitment to Sri Lanka as its closest maritime neighbour and time-tested friend. Minister Jaishankar handed over Maritime Rescue Coordination Centre and 154 houses constructed under Government of India housing schemes to the Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Other ministers and senior officials were also present at the ceremony in Colombo. And joining me from Colombo is my colleague Ahmed Moeen Faruqi. Ahmed, how is the minister's visit coming along? Fill us in on the details that you've been able to glean so far.
Ramesh, the visit is a very significant one. Primarily speaking, you see, after 10 years of having a policy of neighborhood first, now we are seeing the next steps into how the neighborhood first would further evolve. And this is a very significant one because you see, in NDA 3.0, the focus has been more on how to further take the neighborhood first policy to new heights and new strengths. Sri Lanka has been a very strong ally and a strong partner of India since quite some time, and India wants to see to it that the maritime security and safety is also paramount. Sri Lanka is as of now holding the chair of IORA and India has the vice chair. And at this moment, handing over of MRCC, which has been completely, commissioned under Indian grant of $6 million, it's a very significant step because this brings about air-sea rescue in the Sri Lankan territorial waters as well as the international waters, which is very, very significant for the safety which India has been talking about in the Indian Ocean. This is a very important step. At the same time, having spent more than an hour with the president, Sri Lankan president, there had been quite a lot of discussions with regard to the bilateral relations of both the countries. And this is a very crucial step that president of a foreign country is taking so much keen interest in how to further strengthen relations with India. And that too in the neighborhood, it's a very, very significant step. Now, as I have gotten to know that now the minister has now proceeded to call on the Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. He also will discuss a few more things with him. Thereafter, we are getting to hear that he might meet a few other political leaders here, former president and leader of opposition as well. This is what is being talked about in the local media reports. So it's just we'll be waiting for these details to come out as well, Ramesh.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Ahmed Moeen Faruqi in Colombo, thank you. Appreciate it. And in some more news from Sri Lanka, a Jaipur foot artificial limb fitment camp concluded in Jaffna on Wednesday. 366 limbs were fitted on 352 beneficiaries. The initiative, organized by the Indian Diplomatic Mission in collaboration with 2 other organizations as well. Right, moving on, after concluding a mutual defense pact with North Korea, Russia's President Vladimir Putin touched down in Vietnam early on Thursday for talks with the country's communist leaders on the final stop of his 2-nation tour of Asia. Vietnamese President To Lam said that Vietnam wants to boost its ties with Russia. Russia and Vietnam signed agreements in the sectors of energy and security. In a briefing with Vietnamese President To Lam, President Vladimir Putin said that Russia was keen to partner with the Southeast Asian country in energy and security. Putin said Moscow and Hanoi are interested in building a reliable security architecture. He also said that Russian companies were ready to invest in liquefied natural gas projects in Vietnam. Meanwhile, EU countries agreed on a 14th package of sanctions against Russia on Thursday that includes a ban on transshipments of Russian liquefied natural gas. The package maximizes the impact of existing sanctions by closing loopholes. Instead, EU companies will still be allowed to purchase Russian LNG but be prohibited from re-exporting it to other countries. The approval was delayed several times over the reservations voiced by several countries, including Hungary, which had vowed to block any sanctions in the energy sector. And Dasha Chernyshova joins us from Moscow. Dasha, what more can you tell us about Putin's visit to Vietnam in terms of, one, optics and two, outcomes?
Well, certainly it is an important visit that many have been anticipating. First of all, because it is one of the first international trips by the Russian president since taking office for the new presidential term. But also, importantly, this is an Asia tour. The visit to Vietnam comes after Putin's trip to the DPRK. Now, speaking about the results that we have heard of to this moment, we understand that the Russian president said in Vietnam that the Russian companies were ready to invest into the liquefied natural gas projects in Vietnam. This is one of the areas where these two countries can further cooperate and deepen their partnership. We also understand that the two countries are now going to settle their payments in national currencies. And also the Russian president noted the prospects that exist in the development of the transport corridor between Russia's Vladivostok and Vietnam's Ho Chi Minh. The Vietnamese side has also been speaking after the negotiations. We understand that the two countries will be increasing the cooperation in the area of defense and security. And now this is where we remember Russia and the DPRK saying that they will be coming to each other's aid if one of the countries is attacked. That's as a result of the Russian president's recent trip. Also in Vietnam, we understand that the Vietnamese officials regard Russia as one of the priorities in its foreign policies, and the negotiations have been really fruitful. That's according to To Lam, the president of the country. We also understand that these two countries have agreed not to strike any arrangements with the third countries that could jeopardize the sovereignty and independence of either of these states. So certainly the understanding is very clear. The Russian president has traveled to Vietnam in order to beef up support and try to find the ways where these two countries can cooperate even further in these current geopolitical circumstances.
Now, how does the Kremlin view EU sanctions on Russia in general and the latest round of sanctions targeting Russian liquefied natural gas in particular?
Well, the understanding in Moscow has never changed. Moscow says all of those sanctions are illegitimate because they are not going through the UN Security Council, and therefore they are an attempt to cripple the Russian economy, to contain its development. So Moscow says that even though these sanctions are being introduced, the Russian economy has the means and ways to succeed and to develop. So this is what Moscow says it is going to do. But also Moscow once again reminds that these sanctions all have the boomerang effect, especially when it comes to the area of energy, saying that the Western countries have suffered a lot already, especially the consumers in those states that have tried to not to use the Russian energy resources, instead replacing them with more expensive alternatives.
Dasha, thank you. Dasha Chernyshova in Moscow. To West Asia now, where Israel's army has released on Wednesday a footage of carrying out strikes against Hezbollah targets in several locations in southern Lebanon. The airstrikes were carried after Hezbollah fired around 15 projectiles into northern Israel. The head of Lebanon's Hezbollah said on Wednesday that no place in Israel would be safe if a full-fledged conflict breaks out. He threatened Cyprus and other parts of the Mediterranean as well. And joining me from Tel Aviv is my colleague Sarah Coates. Sarah, Israel's foreign minister has warned that a decision on an all-out war with Hezbollah was coming soon and that Israel's military has firmed up operational plans for an offensive in Lebanon. Tell us more.
Certainly. Well, these plans were firmed up late Tuesday after Hezbollah apparently published this footage that was taken over the port of Haifa showing extremely sensitive military sites. Now, you mentioned there Hassan Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah. He also mentioned in that televised speech of a war without ceilings. You mentioned there too, threatening Cyprus that it would become a target if it gets involved and if a war breaks out, if it assists Israel and opens its things like airports. So certainly very, very worrying, of course, to the international community. And it does appear at this hour as though diplomatic efforts to bring this situation under control are failing. This is, of course, why one of Biden's top envoys, Amos Hochstein, he was here in the region really trying to bring the situation under control, call for calm, call for de-escalation. But of course, it is an extremely worrying situation. And another thing we do need to remember here is the capabilities of Hezbollah are completely different to the last Lebanon war, which of course was fought back in 2006. It's a highly sophisticated, heavily armed organization with very battle-hardened fighters that have fought the civil war in Syria.
And shifting focus away from the Israel-Lebanon border now to the Israel-Gaza border, has a US-built pier in Gaza resumed operations to unload aid for the Palestinians?
Well, we are hearing that this could resume operations today after reportedly being reattached yesterday after coming off in bad weather. But according to the New York Times, this pier could actually be dismantled as early as next month. Now, it is being seen as a massive failure. It cost more than $200 million to construct, more than 1,000 US troops to build this floating pier. And when the US announced this effort to actually try and bring more aid into the Gaza Strip, the administration said that it could facilitate some 150 trucks per day. But according to aid groups, it's been facilitating some 15 trucks per day. Now, a very important point here, Ramesh, is that aid groups have been saying that famine needs to be declared in the Gaza Strip. But according to the UN's famine committee, there's not enough evidence to actually back these claims up. So certainly people on the ground do say they are very, very hungry, that there is famine in parts of the Strip like the north and that more aid needs to get in. But at that same time, we do need to remember that the Rafah border crossing, which has been closed now for more than a month due to these ongoing military operations, it remains shuttered.
Right.
But not just from the Israeli side, also from the Egyptian side, with many, many trucks seen queuing up.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Sarah, thank you. Sarah Coates reporting there from Tel Aviv. And still to come on DD India News Hour. At least 32 people have died after consuming illicit liquor in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. And we tell you all about a Hong Kong charity that promotes yoga therapy for breast cancer survivors.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A quick recap of the headlines. World grapples with extreme weather. Heat-related deaths rise in India. 80 million people in the US under a heat advisory as New York City opens cooling centers. Vladimir Putin's trip to Vietnam brings bamboo diplomacy in focus after he strikes defense deal with North Korea. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch development projects in the Kashmir Valley to lead the International Day of Yoga celebrations in Srinagar. Now, with heat stroke claiming many lives and reservoirs running dry, extreme hot weather is taking a heavy toll around the world. Here's a detailed report.
Extreme heat wave has taken a deadly turn in countries across the world. In Saudi Arabia, hundreds, including 50 Indians, have died during the Hajj pilgrimage. Physical exertion and open spaces have made pilgrims more vulnerable to heat strokes. In the Indian capital of New Delhi, at least 5 people died of heat stroke in the last 2 days.
Recently, we have had a huge influx of about 22 patients with heat wave related illnesses. Of the 22, 5 people have died due to suspected heat stroke. Of the remaining patients, 12 to 13 are on ventilators and are still critical.
On Tuesday, nighttime temperature in Delhi soared to a record high of 33.8 degrees. In China's Shandong province, water level in a major reservoir has hit a historic low, taking a toll on farmers living nearby. In the US, more than 80 million people are under heat wave advisory. Cities like New York have been opening water parks early as residents seek ways to beat the heat.
Just try to do whatever you can to stay out the heat wave. We have free water centers everywhere.
In some parts of the US, like the New Mexico state, extreme heat has led to dry condition aiding the spread of wildfire. The disaster has claimed at least 2 lives. In the Greek capital of Athens, volunteers battled wildfire amid unprecedented high temperatures. While in Italy, tourism has been hit as people choose to stay indoors to escape extreme hot weather. Bureau Report, DD India.
And Vinod Kumar joins us from Dubai for more. Vinod, what more can you tell us about the pilgrims who died during Hajj in Saudi Arabia, including a number of Indian nationals?
Ramesh, this year we witnessed scorching temperatures that sadly claimed the lives of at least 550 pilgrims. The count, that 550, is not an official count from the Saudi Arabian authorities, but the count we gathered from different diplomats from different countries, and most of these count are based on the number of bodies that is found from the main morgue in Makkah, the Al-Musaym morgue. Among these 550 people who perished, most of them come from the country of Egypt. Around 323 is what the official figures estimate. The day of Arafah, that is the second day of the pilgrimage, was particularly challenging this year because the heat waves scorched up and the temperatures went well above 52 degrees. Despite the provision of air-conditioned rooms, tents, and other amenities, many pilgrims spend the day under the open sky praying as per the strict religious practice known as Wukuf al-Arafat, which involves standing and praying throughout the day in an open ground in the grounds of Arafat. This was the prime reason that exacerbated the heat deaths. Also, people don't realize that on the further days of the pilgrimage, the 3rd and the 4th day, where they travel to Mina, 10 kilometers of day trekking is required to travel to Mina. This is part of the Hajj ritual, and most of the people are not part of it, not prepared for it. As I said, most of the people who died are from Egypt. Why so many casualties from Egypt? The reason is that from Egypt, there are many people attended the pilgrimage without going through the official procedures and without going through the official formalities. They bypassed the system, and many people could not afford to travel through official channels. That's why many people had to come in that manner. That's why Saudi Arabian government does not have a proper count on how many people have died. These people who come unofficially are ill-prepared. They do not have enough water with them, enough other amenities, or do not know even the protocols of the pilgrimage. And every decade, it's estimated that from the Saudi Arabian Meteorological Authority that 0.4 degree of temperature is being seen rising in this pilgrimage, like the Mecca, Medina, and other areas where people visit. So this is part of a global temperature rise, what we call as global warming, and heat waves are striking throughout the world. And this part of the Arabian Peninsula, which is historically known for its low relief and desert conditions, is taking the burn more.
And talking about extreme weather events, Vinod, even the UAE is not immune to its impact. How is the UAE coping with such weather events such as heat waves and floods? For instance, on Eid, it recorded the hottest temperature of the year so far, hitting 49.4 degrees Celsius. And in April this year, heavy rains caused floods in Dubai.
Yes, Ramesh. The global weather changing patterns is seen significant impact in UAE as well. While India is reeling under heat waves, Dubai has received unprecedented rains in the last couple of months, where a cloud burst and other weather phenomenon in which the air masses coming from the polar north descending on the Arabian Peninsula and give unprecedented rains here. Definitely, we can see at the pattern of the temperatures, the pattern of rainfall, precipitation is seen to be changing in the entire Arabian Peninsula. You cannot isolate UAE from other parts of the Arabian Peninsula. Arabian Peninsula comprises majorly of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, and Kuwait and other GCC countries like Qatar. This area is marked by low relief. By relief, we mean geographical relief. There are not much mountains. There are some mountains in the eastern coast of the Arabian Peninsula, but the rainfall that we receive here is not orographic in nature. So you do not naturally receive rainfall here, but due to the climate change and due to the rising temperatures, moist air that rises from the sea go up and they condense and form rains. Usually this kind of rains used to happen in the seas, but nowadays we can see this precipitation happening over the peninsula. And how UAE is adapting to it, definitely UAE is one of the countries which has maintained its adaptability and mitigation goals right from the earlier conference of parties of UN climate change from 1995 onwards. The last year, UAE hosted the COP28, and we concluded with a consensus called the UAE consensus, in which measures has been taken to reduce, phase out fossil fuels. And UAE itself as a country is known for its diversification in energy levels, energy infrastructure. UAE is historically known for getting energy from oil, but they are diversifying and making sure that this diversified energy comes from sustainable practices.
Right, we leave there, Vinod. Thank you. Vinod Kumar reporting there from Dubai. And now to all the updates on the International Day of Yoga, which will be celebrated on the 21st of June. The theme of this year's International Day of Yoga is Yoga for Self and Society. It underscores the holistic benefits of yoga not just for an individual but for society as a whole. Tripti Tripathi highlights the Indian government's initiatives to make yoga popular globally.
Over the last decade, Modi government has championed yoga on both national and international stages. The recognition of June 21st as International Yoga Day by the United Nations in 2014 was a significant achievement for India. Yoga has become a symbol of India's Asian wisdom and spiritual heritage, fostering goodwill across borders. In 2023, Guinness World Record was created for most nationalities in a yoga session at the Yoga Day event led by PM Narendra Modi in New York. Another record was created in Surat with 1.53 lakh participants celebrating International Yoga Day. Domestically, the creation of the Ministry of Ayush in 2014 marked a significant step in mainstreaming yoga. This ministry has launched initiatives like Namaste Yoga app, making yoga resources accessible to all. The new Education Policy 2020 also integrates yoga into the school curriculum. Recognized as a sports discipline, yoga is now taught in many universities.
Government of India is also propagating yoga through generation of evidences, effect of yoga on health. For example, In AIMS Delhi, there is a Center for Integrative Medicine Research, which is supported by Ministry of Ayush. So that center is doing a lot of research on yoga. NIMANS is doing a lot of research on yoga. There are global institutions, NIH, USA is doing a lot of research on yoga. So basically, large-scale evidence generation is also another aspect where we bring yoga into the lives of the people, and that is happening.
Programs like Har Angan Yoga promote yoga at the grassroots level and in workplaces. Initiatives such as Yoga Bharat Mala, Yoga Sagar Mala and Yoga My Pride photography contest further elevates yoga's presence. Ministry of Ayush in collaboration with MyGov has also launched Yoga 2024 quiz based on past International Day of Yoga celebrations. Each participant of the quiz will be rewarded with an e-certificate. Another initiative includes Prime Minister's Award for Yoga that honors significant contributions to the promotion and development of yoga. For International Day of Yoga 2024, the Ministry of Ayush along with the Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga is leading the 100 Days, 100 Cities and the 100 Organizations campaign. This initiative involves mass yoga demonstrations and sessions.
From fostering physical well-being to enhancing India's cultural diplomacy, yoga continues to unite and empower millions across the globe. Prasar Bharati for DD India.
India's Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports organized a yoga event at the Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium in New Delhi. Now, students in Uganda are being introduced to the ancient Indian practice of yoga. The mindfulness program is intended to help children with their mental health. DD India's Leon Senyange reports from Kampala.
A Friday morning at the Sri Sahajanad School starts with this: the stretches, breath awareness, and then the lotus pose. The students say they are learning to let go of stress and anxiety.
I enjoyed the one when we were jogging, and with our eyes closed, it made me feel relaxed.
When we do this, it opens our lungs. Then when we say ha, ha, it makes us to focus more.
Shunya Mehta teaches the ancient Indian practice of yoga here. He says it is a perfect way for the students to experience mindfulness.
The energy of child is always bubbling. They're full of energy. And unless you don't channelize it, then they will end up doing whatever mischievous things they do in the class, or they'll start laughing, or they'll be distracted.
The session usually lasts 45 minutes, and the outcomes have been rewarding. School administrators here say the students are taking up their yoga sessions, and they are seeing an improvement in academics as well as a change in behavior. The school has now incorporated the sessions into its education curriculum.
When the children are taught to sit down, close your eyes, think about something, a child is getting mindful and organizing our brains. So that is something that our children are missing in our schools.
And the teachers are getting involved too. The exercise offers them a perfect starter ahead of the day's schoolwork.
My body is not yet used to it, but I love the experience and I want to do this more. I wish we could have like 2 more sessions in a week. It would be interesting.
With the session already working here, Sunya is eager to spread the practice by introducing it to more schools. Leon Senyange in Kampala, reporting for DD India.
At least 32 people have died and several hospitalized after they allegedly consumed illicit liquor at Kallakuruchi in the southern state of Tamil Nadu. After Wednesday's incident triggered an uproar, the government rushed special medical teams to the area. The incident comes just a year after 22 people died in twin hooch tragedies at Villupuram and Chengalpattu districts. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin expressed shock over the deaths. He said that action had been taken against officials who failed to prevent it. Meanwhile, India's Minister of State L. Murugan has expressed shock over the deaths in Tamil Nadu. He alleged that the state government has been inefficient and Chief Minister Stalin is neither able to control the bureaucrats nor the sale of illegally brewed liquor. He demanded Minister S. Muthuswamy's resignation.
The illicit liquor deaths, we received almost more than 30 persons are died and more than 70 persons are taking treatment in this seriously. See, the state of Tamil Nadu, state government of Tamil Nadu, the Chief Minister Stalin is inefficiency government. He is unable to control the officers. He is unable to control the illicit liquor. The people, innocent people, particularly the poor people, they are all dying because of this illicit liquor. The Tamil Nadu government and the concerned minister, Muthuswamy, should be resigned because he is unfit to hold this office.
And Anbarasan Elango joins us for more on this developing story. Anbarasan, what more can you tell us about this unfortunate incident and how's the investigation coming along?
After the tragedy of Kallakurichi last evening, as reported from our channel, the death toll has been continuously increasing. Right now, the death toll has been 35. And the Kallakurichi Karunapuram, where this incident took, last evening around 100 plus people has been admitted to the hospitals of Kallakurichi General Hospital and also Salem, and also they are sent to the Jaffna for the furthermore treatment. And also the state government has been transferred and also suspended the various administrative district collector and superintendent of police, and also the entire prohibition department of Kallakurichi district has been suspended. And also today the first session of Tamil Nadu Assembly has been started. So after the assembly session, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has conducted the emergency meet regarding this, and after that there is a result came that the Chief Minister has announced the special inquiry commission which is headed by the retired Judge Gokul Das. After this inquiry commission, the report will be given to the government after the 3 months regarding this Kallakurichi tragedy. And also all parties, particularly the ADMK and the opposition leader Edappadi K. Palanisamy, today visited the Kallakurichi and visited the victims and the hospitals and interacted with the families. And he continuously accused that the DMK government didn't stop the illicit liquor issue on the Tamil Nadu for last 2 years. And due to that, these continuous incidents in last year in Villupuram, Marakanam and Chengalpet happened, and this year Kallakurichi is continuously going to happen. And also the state BJP unit has been announced that statewide protest on June 22nd. And also the Union Minister for State, Dr. L. Murugan, has requested the resignation of State Prohibition Minister S. Muthuswamy because the government didn't take action after the incident last year took, and right now it's happening. The death toll has been continuously increasing due to that, and also the who all are admitted in the hospitals in Jipmer and also the Salem and also Kallakurichi has been given the treatment, and the inquiry of CBCID, all the police forces has rushed to the places of wherever the Karunapuram, the region where the Kallakurichi this incident happened, and so the inquiry is just still going on.
So as Anbarasan was reporting there, the death toll has gone up to 35. That's the latest news coming in from Tamil Nadu. Anbarasan, thank you. Anbarasan Elango reporting there on the illicit hooch tragedy. In some more news from India, India's President Draupadi Murmu visited the Pandit Deendayal Upadhi National Institute for Persons with Physical Disabilities in New Delhi on Thursday. The President paid floral tributes as the statue of Deendayal Upadhi, planted a sapling and visited a renovated prosthesis and orthosis center. She interacted with the beneficiaries. In her address, she spoke about the significance of prioritizing the empowerment of persons with disabilities. She applauded their struggles and achievements, recognizing them as a source of inspiration for all citizens.
मुझे आशा है कि दिव्यांगजनों की ये सब असाधारण उपलब्धियां देशवासियों को प्रेरित करेगी। ऐसे सभी लोग इस बात के उदाहरण है कि उनका डेडिकेशन और डिटर्मिनेशन से आप हर प्रकार के शारीरिक सीमा को पार कर सकते हैं। मैं आपको ये विश्वास दिलाना चाहती हूँ कि आप किसी भी प्रकार से किसी से भी कम नहीं है।
And now to all the news from the world of sport with my colleague Deepika Mehto. Deepika, what do you have for us on this broadcast?
Thanks and good afternoon. We've got a very huge match today. It's between India and Afghanistan.
Indeed.
So first, let's quickly get our viewers all the latest from the ongoing T20 Cricket World Cup. So India will play against Afghanistan in the first Super 8 match at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados on Thursday. India secured victories in 3 out of its 4 Group A matches, with its game against Canada being called off because of rain. Now similarly, Afghanistan won 3 of its 4 Group C matches, with its only loss, a significant one, coming against the host, the West Indies. Taposh Bhattacharya reports more on this. Take a look.
All eyes will be on Virat Kohli as India heads into the Super 8 stage of the tournament. The seasoned batsman is yet to log a double-digit score in the competition, but he is expected to shine on better wickets in Caribbean. India's premier T20 batter Surya Kumar Yadav found some form against USA, boosting his confidence. Besides Kohli, runs are pending from Hardik Pandya, who has been exceptional with the ball but is yet to make a significant impact with the bat. On the bowling front, Arshdeep Singh has grown in confidence, perfectly complementing Jasprit Bumrah both in the power play and in death overs.
All the 3 games that we played were really well attended, which is fantastic. We feel we are ready, we feel we are rested, we feel we are prepared. And we know Afghanistan is a very dangerous team in this format of the game. They've shown in their performances in this World Cup. But also I think if you just look at their squad, I mean, they might not have a lot of international experience as in the other formats of the game, but a lot of their players do play in a lot of T20 leagues, more than, in fact, some of our players do.
But the main question will be whether Kuldeep Yadav will get a chance in the playing 11. The Indian team's practice session suggests that the pitch could be favourable for spinners, strengthening Kuldeep's case for inclusion. Afghanistan enters the Super 8 fixtures after a humbling loss to the West Indies in St. Lucia. Captain Rashid Khan will heavily rely on the left-arm pacer Fazal Haq Farooqi, the leading wicket-taker of the tournament with 12 wickets. Farooqi's ability to swing the ball back poses a significant threat to Indian openers Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli.
In the IPL, we've got a lot of players playing a lot of T20 cricket around the world. And now it's about putting that together as a side. I think in the past we've had some good individual players, but we need all those players playing together as a side, and we've seen that at times in the group stage. Obviously be one of the favourites, and with being favourites obviously is added pressure for India, and hopefully we can come in obviously perceived as underdogs, but in my mind very much not underdogs, and fully prepared and ready for the battle that confronts us.
On the batting front, Afghanistan's in-form openers Ramanullah Gurbaz and Ibrahim Zardan will once again be crucial to their team's success. As the competition heats up, both teams have much to prove. Will Kohli find his form? Can Afghanistan bounce back from the drubbing it got from West Indies? Stay tuned for what promises to be an exciting clash in the Super 8 stage. With cameraperson S Jaishankar, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Barbados.
And Taposh further talks about Barbados on possible team combination that we are expecting ahead of today's match. Take a look.
We might just see a change in the playing 11. Rahul Dravid in his press conference dropped a hint that there might be a spot for a spinner. Now who that spinner will be, that he left for others to figure out, but we believe that Kuldeep Yadav has most chance to make it to the playing 11. Who will go out, that again remains to be seen, but as I mentioned, Kuldeep Yadav is expected to play in this particular contest against Afghanistan. It's a big ground. The pitch is expected to assist the spinners later on, and India will do well to get into in this particular contest with 3 spinners. Remember, already Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel play as all-rounder, so Kuldeep Yadav will come as another. It will provide them a lot of variety in their bowling armory, but we believe that that's one change that team management will like to come up with. Again, they didn't say that which player will be playing in the playing 11, but Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal both are mixed. But we believe that Kuldeep Yadav has more chance to make it in the playing 11, considering his form before the World Cup started. He had an amazing IPL and tournament earlier in that.
So that was Taposh Bhattacharya's report from outside Kensington Stadium. Now defending champion England registered a statement victory after thrashing the co-host West Indies in the second game of the Super 8s on Thursday. Chasing 181 runs, England reached the target in 17.3 overs, courtesy of Phil Salt's unbeaten knock of 87 runs off 47 balls. Bairstow struck 48 not out of 26 deliveries in an unbroken third wicket stand of 97 from 44 balls. Earlier, England skipper Jos Buttler won the toss and opted to bowl. The Windies opener Brandon King and Johnson Charles gave the side a strong start. Charles hit 38 runs while Powell scored 36. For England, Adil Rashid, Jofra Archer, Moeen Ali and Liam Livingstone took a wicket each. Butler's side now sits on top of Group 2 of the Super 8s above South Africa on net run rate ahead of their clash on Friday. On to soccer now. At the Euro 2024, host Germany registered a comfortable 2-0 victory over Hungary in Group A on Wednesday as it became the first side to qualify for the knockout stage. Jamal Musiala registered himself in the score sheet, placing Germany ahead as captain Ilkay Gundogan assisted him in the 22nd minute. With this result, Germany raised its total 6 points to number 6, while Hungary remained at the bottom of Group A without a single point. So that was a quick wrap from the world of sports. Back to you.
Thank you, Deepika. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India News Hub. You can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen now to download it. And let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. All of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.